What is going on, guys? Corrosive Bullet here, and today we are going to be going over my matches and my deck profile for the Kid Goku deck. This is probably my most, I want to say, probably most, the one I was looking most forward to in terms of what decks I wanted to play. I thought it was going to be Broly that I would, or Demon K Piccolo that I would probably like, but no, I kind of gravitated towards this deck. This deck is actually a lot of fun. It's got the potential to not only play control relatively well, but like you get a pretty decent, like pretty big hand size. There's some level of aggression, early game aggression that you can do with this deck. The only thing that kind of sucks about this deck is that you are relatively reliant on the extra cards that you bring with you. So if you're not able to see a lot of your extra cards, it does kind of end up hurting you in the long run if you can't, keep that aggression up. Like, for example, the big crux of the deck here is Cross Arm Dive. Cross Arm Dive allows you to get a 1-drop off your board to then put a 3-cost onto your board. You can do this as early as turn 1 if you're going second. Or no, turn 2. Sorry, turn 2. And that's really cool. Especially when you combine this with the Jackie Chun card. The Jackie Chun card is crazy in the sense that he's a Self-Awakener, but he also lets you draw a card when you use Cross Arm Dive on the same turn. Getting multiples of these Jackie Chuns is kind of like the ideal scenario in which you want to do it, because then you get so much draw advantage in the early game by doing so. In terms of what else we're kind of running here, we're running some Mize. The Mize are kind of like means for us to self-awaken quickly if we need to. Certain matchups might require us to be that little bit extra aggressive. Announcer helps us find all of our World Tournament pieces. Girin is the new 1-drop Zamasu that allows you to bottom deck a 1-cost. He can be recycled with Pilaf, obviously. We have some Yamchas here. I don't know if I want a full playset of this in the deck. I might want to replace this with like some sort of other 10k, maybe. Maybe have 2 or 3 of these instead of 4. I'm still kind of like up in the air and like deciding what I'm doing with this. We got some noms on the off chance that we don't find Jackie Chun. He's a 10k combo at the very least, and then he allows us to draw a card off of him as well, which is pretty good. TN lets us get our extra cards back, so that's all that. 3 copies of the Double Striker. This Double Striker is crazy. It's a really good, strong Double Striker option. Just being able to double up on the effect of an extra card is really strong, regardless of what you decide to do with it. Like, you could play this, and you could, like, double sickle if you wanted to. Or you couldn't double sickle, I guess, because original cost of 2 or less. But you could like double Sleepy Boy, and you'd be losing a lot of cards in your hand by doing so, but like you can at least remove like your opponent's board with semi-relative ease. So yeah, I mean, we got some Zenos as a backup. There were some matches where I felt like I had the Zeno. In terms of the extras, obviously Scissors Paper Rock is a staple in this deck. Like, you want to see this card. This is basically the card you're going to use to go for game at the end of your turn, or when you use Double Striker, so that's necessary. Cross Arm Dive, also necessary. You want that early game aggression, and you want to, keep your combo power in your hand when possible, because you are running as many extras, right? So bringing those 1-drops back is important. Then we're running 2 of the Dodon Wave. I think it was in one of my breakdown videos when we were going over the blue reveals and stuff. I think some of us thought that this was kind of underwhelming of a card, and to an extent it kind of is, but just being able to bounce back a 5-cost is actually like really handy. It allows, like, especially like in the mirror, bouncing back a Double Striker might actually be relatively positive, and then just adding 10,000 power is also good as well. So, like, I mean, obviously this is meant to be used with the TN, and we try to use this with the TN when possible. But it does have this 4-cost or more battle card in your battle area restriction, which does kind of suck. And then Sleepy Boy. Sleepy Boy's okay. I get some use out of using this card. Discarding 1 card from your hand kind of sucks inherently. considering that you're only allowed to remove a 5 cost or lower with this. Like, I don't know. It seems like this is a little like undertuned, I guess would be the word. I'm not sure. It comes in handy when it needs to, and you're drawing enough where the discard 1 from hand isn't like the biggest deal, but using this off the leader ability just feels really bad, because then you're discarding 2 cards to remove something. Like, it's not ideal. I wish this card was a little better, but it's got its use in this deck. And then 1 Final Hope Slash, because, you know, obviously, you know, Pilaf can get this back and blah, 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 blah. So, let me know what you guys think of the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think down below, but let's get into the games. Alright, so this first match, we're up against Starter Goku. Now, Starter Goku is a deck that I kind of wanted to test out and try due to the new support that he kind of got. Definitely something that I want to like mess around with sometime in the near future. But, I mean, this was pretty cool. I will say the new support that he ended up getting is actually, like, really, if you let that new 4-cost Frieza kind of just stick around on board and you don't do anything to kind of answer it, it does kind of become a problem, because of how much draw power it can kind of have. And unfortunately in this deck, like, if I'm not seeing Sleepy Boy technique, like, that is just something that we are, like, never getting rid of. And even then, like, it's kind of awkward. Like, the thing with Sleepy Boy technique is that it's awkward to use at times, because once you get into kind of like the mid-range or the mid-game, excuse me, once you kind of get into the mid-game, it does kind of become a problem when it comes to like the removal, because you can only remove 5 costs or less, and only up to 2 battle cards. So we get our Jackie Chun plays out early here. Jackie Chun, again, he's going to draw us a card at the end of the turn. We got another cross-arm dive, which is great. That means next turn we can play a Girin if we need to, or a Pilaf if we need to, and we can just cross-arm dive. I decided to protect this just because we know he's not... that's the only thing that he's doing, so... I did play the Pilaf here, but we need a Pilaf in the drop anyway to really get use of it. So, obviously, that was not quite a misplay, but, I mean, we could have done things a little bit better. Having 2 Jackie Chuns on the board is just worth it. And next turn, and I wanted to use Cross-Arm Dive anyway, because we're going to play Tien next turn, regardless. And that's going to allow us to get our extra cards back from the drop. So, even if it did seem a little awkward to have to play Pilaf there, like, it's... And even then, we didn't even really get... Even then, we didn't really even, like, put him in the drop. So, it's, like, I don't even... Half of what I said just didn't make sense. So, don't mind me. Don't mind me. So, alright. So, now we're both awakened. He plays Jiren. Jiren's kind of whatever. He went for Yamcha instead of Jackie Chun, which I guess he did because he wanted to remove the removal. Yeah, here we're gonna... I think here we play the Tien to get Dodon Ray. Do we get Dodon Ray back? Yeah, I think we get Dodon Ray and Cross-Arm Dive back. And honestly, I probably could have sequenced this a little bit better, just due to the fact that Jiren does get that extra draw. I probably could have... played Tien and swung with the crit initially in the beginning to bounce this back to hand, and then he wouldn't get the extra draw. That is a sequencing issue that I probably should have just done, but you know, that it is what it is. Like, that probably would have just been the play, but... And then we still draw 2 cards. Like, you can see that the Jackie Chuns are giving us so much value. There's so much draw power that we're getting off of that. So he plays the 4-cost Frieza. Again, this card is really good for the Starter Goku deck, because on offense and defense, this allows you to draw cards just continuously. Even if it's, like, going for face. I decided to go for face here just because it didn't make sense to... Cause knowing that he was going to do the draw, it didn't make sense to combo that, you know? Yep, and we're just making pushes. We're comboing stuff to make pushes, making it a 40k crit. He decides to take it. He goes down to 1. And we're just going to play this again. And we're going to bounce peel off back. And he didn't have any super combos, so he just completely, like, started comboing stuff out. And I mean, we're still sitting pretty decently. We're getting 3 cards back, which is just insane to even think about. Obviously, he's going to go for Secret Rare. Obviously, we're going to have to say goodbye to our board, because there's just no semblance in... There's just no semblance in, like, protecting any of our board at this point. We have our Double Striker, so obviously we can go for Double Strike if we need to. And I think we do end up going for Double Strike. Yep, so we grab this. We swing. And as you can, and as you can see, like, he's still just drawing off of that Frieza. Keeping that Frieza on board is problematic. I would recommend that everybody should try to remove that Frieza as, like, best as they possibly can. Yep, and so we decide to do the unthinkable here. I think we discard Sleepy Boy here, or the Double Striker here, to then push Peel off with double Scissors Paper Rock. Yeah. So now we swing with Peel off. We combo on up. We go up to 75. We go up to 75 with Peel off, and it's just too much for him, and it's just game over. Very disrespectful. I didn't plan to make that disrespectful, but it just kind of happened. So on to the next one. All right, so in this one we end up going up against Baby. Baby is always a fun deck to play, and it's always a fun deck to go against for me. Like there's just something about Baby that, like, just scratches that itch, you know? All right, so starting off here, obviously, like, we don't want to necessarily awaken Baby too fast, because obviously that's when Baby really starts to pop off. And luckily for us, we can kind of just slow roll it. Only attack his face when we need to draw off the lead. Don't need to necessarily attack with our battle cards into lead whatsoever. We kind of want to stay at pace with Baby, because if he awakens, then we need to be able to awaken too. So obviously we take all these hits. We need to find our Jackie Chuns. We now have our system set up. Not really concerned about getting rid of Glorio right off the bat, but I do want to make sure that we get Jackie Chuns out onto the board. And I doubt that he's going to... I mean, he can't, unless he generates a marker here, I doubt that he's going to be able to remove this Jackie Chun on this turn, which obviously we can see he chose not to do. So, so now we're awakened. We have so many cards in hand. We're double digits in hand, which is just crazy. And we use TN and the marker to get 2 cards back. And then we use Jackie Chun to get Jackie Chun back out, which is also something that you can do. We got to draw off it as well, so it definitely came in handy. He plays Great Ape, which is like whatever. Like we lose Jackie Chun. He made his purpose was served. So it kind of is what it is. Now I was confused here as to why he didn't like awaken there, because he could have definitely awakened there if he wanted to. I don't know if he was trying to go for something specific, but just seemed a little off there. That might have hurt him a little bit more than not. Yeah, we play Jackie Chun. And we're just doing this for the power boost. We want some cards out of his hand. He's down to 6 cards in hand. Ideally, what I'm trying to do here is, like, I know that he's just going to remove the cards on my board when possible. We just want to, and we know he's just going to build his board up. This baby's whole gimmick is that he's able to play wide while also getting crazy amounts of draw power. So we are just prepping for, that, and we're going to play the Zeno to remove his board. Potentially. We'll have to see. And we're just, again, we're completely trying to completely zero out. And right now he's like stupidly thin. He doesn't really got like much going for him, and he can't really play a whole lot either. So now my plan kind of changed, because obviously I'm not seeing Sleepy Boy technique. I can't get rid of Trunks GT in any way, and he is playing very aggressive at this point. So at this point we got to go for the at this point with Double Striker in hand and all these extras, we have to go for the Double Strike plan. So I decided to combo up to 60, I think. Yeah, it was 60 that I went for. And now we can go ahead. And we get doubled up. And of course we draw 2 dead cards. That's just my luck. That's always my luck. I can never play a blue deck without the last couple cards that I need in that turn to always be a dead card in hand. That my luck in that front is just always bad for whatever reason. I can't control that. I just got to get better at the game, right? So on to the next one. All right, so this next one I decided to incorporate in here. This is a loss, FYI. Spoiler alert. We decided to go up against droids, or we end up going up against droids. So there's a couple of mistakes that I made in this particular matchup. And I want to kind of throw that out there for people that do, because droids is as strong as it's ever been. For whatever reason, despite the fact that green is getting like generic support that doesn't necessarily bolster up this deck or is specifically for this deck, droids is still like a standout. And I hope that Bandai does something to, like, at this point, if Haloku and Super Boo are like the big problem decks for their respective colors, Androids is the problem deck for green. And not for the reason that you think. It just, like, Droids needs to be hit in some fashion to give other green decks a chance. It is ridiculous that this is a set 1 deck that is still the #1 deck in the game. Like, it's crazy just to even think about that. Like, the #1 green deck is like the very first green deck that came out for this game. So there's a couple things that I could have done a little bit differently here, though. What sucks is that I didn't find my Jackie Chuns until later, which is unfortunate. So I was forced to kind of play Nam here. Another thing that I should have been doing is I should have been swinging into droids a lot sooner, playing the more aggressive format. I should have just been playing more aggressively, honestly, is really like the big thing in this particular matchup. But yeah, like, so in terms of like the energy, right? So technically for me, this is my turn 3 because I only have 3 energy that I charged. They're already at 6 energy on turn 3. Which means that come next turn, depending on what they play next turn, they're already going to be at 8 energy on turn 4. Because of field here. Yeah, they'll be at 8 energy. So starting turn 5, they can start doing their crazy shenanigans, right? There is, in my mind, there is no means in which you can play aggressively fast enough. At least with this deck. There is no way that you could play aggressive fast enough with this deck early on in order to make too much of a difference in how they build up their ramp, right? Because ideally, the ideal way that you want to play against androids is you want to, you know, aggro them down before they can get to 8 energy. And not every deck is able to do that. There's certain decks that exceed in this. They excel in being able to do that. Not this deck. The other issue with this deck, too, in this particular matchup, is that removal. Removal kind of sucks. Like, we were able to get removal off there, which is great. But if you don't see that Sleepy Boy technique, that's where it becomes a little problematic. So, again, he's at 6 energy still. Now he's at 8. Here, I think he plays Double Striker. No, I think after this, he plays Double Striker. Yeah, just being able to do this is, like, crazy. I said earlier that I think green needs to be hit in some way to balance this deck out. I don't think Ramp Droids is the card to remove. I don't think Android 17 and 18 can afford to lose this card in any capacity, whether it be a ban or a limit. So I think they just need to. I think they just need to lose like generic green stuff. Like in my personal opinion. My dog's in my closet. Little girl, what are you doing? Back it up. She got stuck in the closet. I think what should have done, like, first off, I think the Double Strike Broly never should have been a generic green card. That should have been leader lock to Broly. Like, this card should never have been allowed to be put in other green decks. Just for what it's doing. I had my buddy Alispare. I watched my buddy Alispare play a game against this deck, and he was playing Gogeta, and he played against this deck. He was able to get androids down to 1 energy, but obviously, like, because of the ramp shenanigans and the draw power that this deck potentially has, like, they were able to get up to like almost 20 energy. And so when he got him down to 1 energy, what did he end up? I think he did Potential Unlocked, which took him from 1 life to 3 life, and then boosted up one of his cards on board. And then he played a Double Strike Broly at 9 energy still, and went back up to 4. And it's like, a green deck should not be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to like heal to infinity and be able to still stay in the game while having the energy capacity that you do have and going from there, right? Like that's just my opinion. You feel free to disagree all you want, guys, if you want. But again, like, it's just like Androids is doing everything. Like, Android 17 is doing absolutely everything. He's ramping efficiently. He's able to heal to oblivion. He's able to control the board. He's able to, keep your stuff removed. He can play wide. He can play tall. He can do, like, you can build this 17 deck in, like, any number of ways and have it work in your favor. And, like, I just don't think that a deck should be allowed to do that. And it hurts green. Like, that's my biggest issue with it. Like, in an echo chamber where in an echo chamber in which, like, this deck is like the only green deck, right? Where this deck is the only green deck. For me, it's like, it's not an issue, because one color in the game needs to be doing the thing. Yeah, and once again, drew twice, drew things that I didn't need. And I just kind of let this end, because at this point I was just kind of over it. But yeah, like, green, like, Android 17 is hurting other green decks, and it's not, like, at some point this deck needs to be dethroned, right? Like, this can't be the de facto go-to green deck forever and ever, right? Like, there needs to be something that changes to take this guy off his pedestal. Again, I don't think Ramp Droids is the thing that needs to be removed, because, Like, this deck does kind of need ramp droids to be good. To at least stand out, right? To at least be able to do the thing it wants to do. But, I don't know, maybe limit field. You could maybe limit field to an extent. To slow down the energy ramping. Like, you can only have one of the field. Honestly, again, I think the Double Striker Broly should have just been leader locked to Broly. I don't think that should have ever been a generic green card that androids can utilize and use. I think that's just a little ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. That's a thought experiment I'll have to sit on and like really look at like all the stuff in green and kind of think what does androids need and what does androids not need. But that's the other thing too. Like I talk about the Double Strike Broly, but they can't really limit the Double Strike Broly because Broly needs that card. The Broly leader kind of needs that card. So it's a hard question. It's a really hard question at this point in the game. Like what does green need to change? I don't know. We'll see. Let's go on to the next one. All right, and after that ramp about, you know, green and androids, we go into this match, which is against Beerus. I was expecting to see, or excited to see, like, what this Beerus deck is actually doing. Like, I still like Beerus as a leader. I want Beerus to succeed and, like, have a chance in the format. And I think some of the android stuff is actually, like, decent in Beerus. Like the minusing potential with Android 16, and then being able to wipe the board with Android 13, I think is actually like a really good thing for Beerus. Just for the things that Beerus is good at and wants to do, like Beerus just being able to control the board to the extent that he's able to, like having those extra little bit of cards in there to kind of help him do that is actually like a good thing. So this is like, in terms of like that, in terms of like when it comes to balancing, I talked about Android 17 and like what they need to do to balance him out. Like this is what you do with generic support. Like you give cards to generic, that's generic enough to be run in other leaders, but it's not like severely oppressive in those leaders. Like Android 13 is not severely oppressive. Is not severely oppressive in Beerus, right? It's not even really that oppressive in Android 18. But for some reason, running Double Strike Broly in Double Strike Broly on and stuff in Android 17 is a little like crazy. But I mean this is a relatively like generic like match, standard match. Sleepy Boy technique, obviously, to remove the board because we want to make sure that he isn't able to, you know, keep the aggression going. And I probably could have done double announcer here. I broke down and I used the stupid tech, the peel-off tech with Final Hope. I hate doing that tech, but I wanted to keep the aggression up in this particular instance. I probably could have double announcered to kind of look for like the things that I kind of need, because like I am heavily dependent right now on trying to find my Double Striker, especially when this, like, he played this but didn't like discard 2, so like it kind of scared me initially. I'm like, okay, like that's a hit I can't really block, or I don't want to block, I should say, right? So yeah, we're swinging here, trying to clear that off the board. So we decided to get some extra cards back. It like gives us a discard option. So we swing lead. We decide to bounce the Vegeta back. Force him to get rid of some cards. Sorry about that, guys. My dog started going off on a barking tirade, and don't know why. Don't know why. Looked out the window, there was nothing there. Anyway, back to the match. I was interested in seeing this guy play the set 3 hit that plays the extra. I like this card, but it's not something you see too often. So obviously he's going to play the time skip extra card, something I haven't seen in a long time, to get rid of TN. I thought that was pretty cool. But he probably could have done that without playing the hit, but I guess you'd have to pay, what, 3 energy to do so, so... so anyway, I decided to bait him here. Because either he swings, and he discards 2 cards, and he goes to 60, and I can combo out, or whatever. And we get the crazy top deck. So I go to 60. Got the crazy top deck of the double strike. Get rid of Jackie Chun so we can use double scissors, paper, rock. And we got a 10k on top of that. Once again, we are drawing... when we need it most, when we need to draw and we need combo power in our hand the most, this is what we get. We get dead cards in hand. But yeah, he was just dead on arrival and just wasn't really able to to do anything at the end there. It was still cool to see some of the tech that this Beerus was doing. I don't know if it was the ideal build. He was definitely getting rid of like his secret rares, which I thought was really weird, but I don't know what was necessarily going on in that matchup either. But yeah, let's wrap this up. So that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with us. Kid Goku, I like the deck a lot. Definitely a couple of, in terms of like how I approach some of these matches, there were definitely some things that I could have probably done a little bit better. Honestly, I mean, I've been away from the game for a little while. I was on vacation in Colorado. I haven't really touched the game in a while. So it's more or less me just kind of needing to get back into the swing of things and just like a couple little oversights here and there to kind of get back into the swing of things. But I mean, the deck is fun. It might need a couple extra things. We know that we're getting some like 1-cost removal. It's basically scissors, paper, rock, but it removes all your opponent's 1-drops. Like that's good against like Haloku and like specifically, but I don't know if that's necessarily like the thing that this deck needed. Yeah, I mean, I like the deck a lot. It just needs better removal than whatever this is, in my opinion. I think if it got a decent removal card like Sinister Sickle in this deck for 2 costs that doesn't necessarily require you to like discard to use it, I think it would be fine. But I don't know. Well, we'll see. We'll see with the manga booster set, like what kind of support that this deck is going to be getting from that. But yeah, I mean, fun deck. I do like this deck a lot, and I hope it continues to get support going down the line. But let me know what you guys think down below. Is there anything you would change in this particular deck list? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 500 subscribers. Would mean a lot to me if you guys could help us get us there before, let's say, I think we can do it before then, but let's do it before the end of summer. Let's try to get to 500 before the end of summer. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.